Storytime with TomFoolery presents By Curious George, written by Andrew Simonian. This is George. He lived in the jungle. He was a straight little monkey, but always very curious. One day, George saw a man. He had on a sassy purple beret, and George got excited, despite himself. The man saw George too. "I'm always in the mood for some hot monkey love," he thought. "I would like to take him home with me." He put his beret on the ground, and, of course, George couldn't help himself. He came down from the tree to verify there was a real designer label inside the jaunty purple chapeau. The man had looked so sexy in the beret. George wanted to be sexy too. He picked it up and put it on. He felt gayer already. The beret still smelled of the man's cologne. George closed his eyes to bask in the thick cloud of man stank. The man picked him up quickly and popped him into his shoulder bag. "It's a man purse," said the man. George was caught and a little excited. The man with the sassy purple beret put George into a little boat with a strapping young lad who rowed them to a big ship. "Hello, sailor," thought George. He was sad to be leaving his home, but he was still a little curious. On the big ship, the man took George out of his mess. "Finally," thought George, "I'm not a fucking chihuahua." "George, I was once like you, and now I am here to help you," said the man. "I am going to take you to a big club in the city called the Zoo. I have a feeling you will like it there a lot. You will also enjoy this special cruise we are on. Now run along and play, but don't do anything I wouldn't do." George promised to be good, but it is easy for horny little monkeys to forget. On the deck, he found some oiled-up men dancing and drinking. He wondered how they could do so many of these things called body shots. He was very curious. Finally, he had to try. It looked easy, but... Oh, what happened? First this, and then this. "Where is George?" yelled every able-bodied seaman. Seaman, George giggled between his dry heaves. At last they saw him trying to make himself puke, and almost all tired out. "He's on his knees," cried one sailor. "But not in a good way," cried another. They picked him up. One held his hair, while the other rubbed his back. "Best night ever," thought George through all his tears and snot, and at last he got it all out of his system. At last the long trip was over. That was the gayest cruise in history, thought George. "You ain't seen nothing yet," said the man. George and the man with the sassy purple beret walked down the gangbang. "Gangplank," corrected the man, and onto the man's impeccably decorated loft in the trendiest part of the city. After a light vegan supper and a smoke of something George quickly realized was not tobacco, George finally felt relaxed and ready to make it happen. He crawled into the man's bed to wait for him, but the man never came. So neither did George. By Curious George, an unauthorized parody, Written by Andrew Simonian. Narrated by Tom Foolery. Happy Tom Foolery Day! Yes, it is a thing. April Fool's Day is Tom Foolery Day. Everyone knows that. What do you mean you didn't know? Well, you better make it a thing then. Post your favourite Story Time with Tom Foolery episode to your social medias and get it trending or some shit. Thank you. Are you a curious little monkey? I bet you are. Let us know in the comments section if you're a curious little monkey. Or just leave a comment saying, I'm a curious little monkey, and leave it at that. We're curious about your curiousnesses. Story time will return. See you next time.